This is Pete Jones, and you are listening to the Dragons Are Real podcast.
Okay, this is episode 10. Again, I'm going to record it in my car. At the moment, I just don't seem to have much time to sit down and find some peaceful time to record a podcast. I retired from work 5 years ago full time, and I've got a couple of part-time jobs now, but even so, I don't seem to have the time to do anything. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about some tools you can use for your GMing, and maybe even as players as well. Trying to get yourself organised, which is important when you're running several sessions or even prepping the game. The first way is old school. A lever arch file with A4 paper in, or get yourself a little GM journal. If you want to see some great ideas for a GM journal, check out Runehammer on YouTube. You can see two of his journals. There's a couple of videos there, and they are outstanding. His organisation and his sketching, I wish I could draw like that. I mean, if I draw a stick man, it's out of proportions. Another way of writing down is bullet journaling. A couple of people have swear by that. Basically, it's organising yourself to write a book or a journal of things. And it has a few conventions to make your life easy, with an index at the front and certain symbols. But at the end of the day, you've got to decide what notes you want to keep. Without knowing what you want to keep, it's very hard to start off. For example, you might want to record certain locations and NPCs and descriptions of those locations. You might want details of your player characters or plot hooks. So before you set any of this up, you've got to decide what you want and how you're going to plan it. And then, as I said, you can use a bullet journal. And the beauty of bullet journals is they have an index at the front. So as you add to that campaign or several campaigns, just by turning to the front, you can look at where things are organised. There's some electronic tools as well. Now, I'm not going to recommend any of these because everybody's needs are different. I mean, like personally, I've got 3 laptops. One runs Windows 10, one runs Linux, and one's a Chromebook. So for me, any electronic device has to be multi-platform. I also got an Android phone and a couple of Android tablets. So whatever I do on one machine has got to be replicated across all of them, so I can have easy access to them. Whether that means hosting on the web space, or using something like OneDrive, Google Docs, or Dropbox, so as a central repository. So, what electronic programs and apps are out there? At the most basic, you've got your Google Docs, which gives you text-based Excel spreadsheets, that sort of thing, spreadsheets. Same thing is provided also by Microsoft with 365. Both free to use, but if you want enhanced features or more storage, then as with many things these days, you have to pay a monthly subscription. Some people swear by Scrivener, which is, I believe, mainly a Apple product designed for writing books, but some GMs find that useful for keeping things down, writing things down. And Microsoft have their version of that. It's called OneNote, and there's also Evernote as well. And they all do similar sorts of things. You have a tree down the left-hand side with categories in. You put information on the right-hand side, and you can move things around. As with all of these, it's trying different ones out and seeing what works for you. One I've recently found, which I found quite useful, is called Trello, which is what they call a canyon board, which is basically like post-it notes you stick on a cork board, and you can move them around, and each card, as if you wish, can have information in it. And you can make boards public so you can share with anybody. and you can have private boards. And for my Flash Gordon campaign, I made a public board, and I keep things like player characters, NPCs they've met, locations they've been to, rumours, any treasure they've got, and they can see this at a glance. I also have a GM board where I keep stuff that I'm preparing, and if players discover something, I can just transfer it across. The beauty of it is it works on mobile devices as well, and you can save it offline. It works offline, which is important for me because I game on a Thursday night at the local gaming club, and we're not always guaranteed Wi-Fi. Sometimes the Wi-Fi goes down, and if that's the case, then I haven't got access to anything I store in the cloud. And sometimes even the 4G can be a bit flaky. So having a backup on your device is useful, and Trello does that. I've also recently discovered as well you can use it as an initiative tracker, because it has cards on it. All you need to do is start a new list with initiative on it, copy your character cards and any monster cards across, and then when initiative is rolled for, you just drag the cards into order. And the way I have my monsters set up on their cards is on the front sheet as well. I have their armour class, the hit dice, and their attack stroke damage value, so that they didn't have to open the card up. So that's another one you can look at. A couple of people swear by using wikis. One of the most famous ones as a standalone is called ZimWiki, and that's available for Windows and Linux. And that's basically a desktop wiki, and you save everything on your computer. But as far as I know, there's no mobile version of that, so you are limited to having a laptop or a PC and buy for using that. But it might be good for organising. I believe you can export everything to HTML pages, so you can also put it on the website. Another one that's quite popular and I've used in the past is called TiddlyWiki. And basically that's a wiki in an HTML file, and you can store information in that and carry either a thumb drive around or have it on your phone. And basically it's an HTML drive, a HTML file which you can add to, and it links to itself, and you can host it on the web as well. So that's a good little one to try as well for keeping your notes. There's also various wikis online that you can use. Some of the more well-known ones are Fandom and Wikidot. You can sign up for free hosting there, and they give you some web space, and you can post things freeform as you wish onto a website, a wiki website, where all your players can have access to. Now, most of them, if they need to add anything, or the players need to add anything, they have to sign up for the service as well. But at least you can collaborate, and if players want to add to their characters, or even do a session report, they can do. Good luck with getting the players to do a session report though, because I found that ends up the GM doing all the work, and players, unless you offer them some like XP, are unlikely to write a session report from their point of view. Another one I've been playing around with lately is called Campaign Wiki, which is a free online wiki by Alex Schroeder, and that's a wiki, and basically anybody can edit it. It's freeform again. As the creator of the wiki, you can keep an eye on recent changes, so that if it is defaced, you can go back and roll it back. But that's another option open to you. There's also some dedicated role-playing portals or apps, and there's a few of them around, and I've dabbled in a couple of them. I won't say I can recommend one or the other, because they all do different things, but some of the ones you've got are Obsidian Portal, which is that's over 10 years old now, and doesn't seem to be very well supported. That keeps going down, so can't really recommend that one. Then you've got World Anvil, which is a popular one. Kanker.io is another that I've come across, and but most of these they have a free access version which gives you a limited amount of storage, and in some cases limits the features, and then for a monthly fee of between $5 and $10, you can get further web storage. Some of them give you further features or allow more users to access it. What I would say with any of those is try the free version and see if it works for you. It depends, again, it goes back to how much information you want to record, and whether the format that the apps do use fits in with your style of organisation. So there's a few options open to you. Oh, one thing is always handy to have on your mobile device as well: a dice roller. I don't usually use them, but that one time when you need a certain dice and nobody's got one with you, a dice roller can be handy for that. So that's always a handy one to have on your phone as a last minute resort. But I like to roll my dice in the open and see where they land. So that's going to be it for now. I'm almost at work, so I think if I've got any more to add, I'll do another podcast on my way home from work.
You've been listening to the Dragons Are Real podcast. You can contact me by leaving a message via the Anchor app or visit the podcast website, petejones.neocity.org, or on OSR Anchorites at the Audio Dungeon Discord. Thanks for listening. The opening music is Siesta by Jazar. The closing music is Controlled Distress by BizBaz Studio.